Hi folks, I'm Spencer, and on today's episode of Cult Mania I'm basically making up for the fact that I haven't been doing videos very often by doing another series of rapid reviews from this big purple box thing. That's probably loud. So, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, or you know, it has been forever since I did one, I basically just review every film that's in here. I get 30 seconds to do each one. And I don't look in the box beforehand, so I don't know what's in it. Yeah, I genuinely actually have no idea. This is probably just a complete jumble of stuff. So let's crack on. Ooh. Yeah, oh god. What happens in you? We need to talk about Kevin. Everyone should have been talking about We Need to Talk About Kevin because it's a bloody brilliant film. I watched this because we watched it at college. It's about a mother who is the parent of a school massacre killer person, and it's just really good. Shame Ezra Miller's a bit of a prick now, but Tilda Swinton's in it and she's brilliant in everything, and she's especially brilliant in this. It's a Lynn Ramsey film, so you know it's going to be good. You've got to watch it. We are still here. This is a sort of spooky house film that I think really doesn't get quite enough credit. I saw it because it's got Barbara Crampton in it, and again, Barbara Crampton's brilliant in everything. It's got Larry Fessenden in it as well. It's genuinely quite creepy and has really good, like, ghosty designs. Like, they're really well designed. I can't remember masses about the plot, but I do remember liking it. And like I said, the sort of spectral figures, I think they're all burnt and they look really cool. Grievous bodily harm. This is a shot-on-video gangster film from the 80s. It was included on the Video Nasties list. This is not an official copy. This is just a dodgy rip. But I mean, the film was shot on video, so it looked like ass anyway. It was written and produced by this bloke, Cliff Twemlow, who was a bouncer, and it's basically just about his life in Manchester. It's pretty shit, but it's very entertaining, and yeah, worth a watch. Night of the Living Dead, a zombie comedy, as you can tell from the title. I don't remember a massive amount about this. I think it was good. It's got Ray Wise, Leland Palmer in it. Yeah, I really don't remember a fat lot about it at all. I think it was just from that era when zombie comedies were everywhere. I mean, it's still in the box, so it must be alright, but clearly not very memorable. Yeah. Run Lola Run, another one I saw for college and really liked. Everyone else absolutely hated it, but it's got such a momentum. It's from, I think it's the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's just a very kinetic film. I mean, there's a lot of running in it, hence why it's called Run Lola Run. There's a Simpsons reference of Run Lola Run, which is always one of those really weird moments where you go, hang on, what? Tom Tykwer did this, went on to work with the Wachowskis for Cloud Atlas, and did the music for the newest Matrix, actually. Yeah, it's a really entertaining film. Really propulsive. Bait, one of the many films that are called Bait. This one is a sort of revenge film about two ladies who they sort of end up loaning money and something happens. It's very violent towards the end. I remember there being some really good gore in it. The main thing to take note of is that anyone that likes Emmerdale, this is directed by Paddy. He's done loads of other sort of gritty, horror-y, inflected films, and this is one of them. And it's entertaining enough. I remember liking it. Housebound, Australian or New Zealand. Now, it doesn't make any allusions to being a comedy, but I kind of think that this was weirdly funny, but I might be confusing it with another. It's one of those ones that I know I definitely have seen it, but I don't remember a single thing about it. So, oh, it's got Peter Jackson's review on the front, so he liked it. Obviously likes it more than me. I mean, I don't remember it being bad. I just literally don't remember a single thing about it. Freaks, which is probably one of the most interesting 30s horror films ever made. Mainly because of its treatment of its circus-free characters and the sort of very humanising quality that the film has, and that they aren't the villains of the film, it's the quote-unquote normal people. I'd love to talk about the film more, actually. I can't really do it justice without sounding like an absolute knob. This is one of the few times I've ever recorded one of these multiple times, because it's so much intricacy to how you have to talk about Freaks that it can't really be done justice in 30 seconds, hence why I'm still waffling. From a classic to a not classic, Sergeant KABUKIMAN, NYPD, from Trauma, and if you've ever seen a Trauma film before, you know exactly what you're getting yourself in for. It's gross, it's got really infantile humour, it's probably offensive and racist, I can't massively remember, but I mean, it's gonna be sort of Asian stereotypes up the wazoo, but I remember enjoying it. This is obviously a German copy because everything on the back's in German. Clearly you can't get it over here. Probably for a good reason. Bloody Moon, one of Jess Franco's attempts at a slasher film. It's not great, it's got some really bizarre dialogue, lots of terrible dubbing. Be warned, there is a scene in which a snake gets cut in half for real, so animal people, do not watch. It's entertaining enough. It's one of those ones, it's so bad it's good. The violence is crap, the plot twist is completely ridiculous and stupid, but like I said, it's full of cracking shit dialogue. Deathgasm, fantastic title, really fun sort of horror comedy with lots of black metal. There's a zombie getting hit in the head with the dildo. That's the sort of level of film we're talking about. We don't talk about the director of this anymore because he's a bit of a knob. But I mean, the film's good, it's very entertaining. Lots of good gore. It's one that I wonder if is still funny. I remember thinking it was really funny at the time, and like I said, the gore's really good, and you get a zombie being hit with a dildo. The Falling by Carol Morley. This is fantastic. Anyone who's a fan of Maisie Williams or Florence Pugh should check this out because it's very early work from them. And Joe Cole, that people will know from Peaky Blinders, he's in it. It's a really strange film about a school where everyone is catching Tourette's. It's like a girls' school and they all catch Tourette's. It's really interesting. Goes into some very dark territory, you know, exploring sexuality and stuff like that, but it's very, very interesting, very good. I really ought to watch this again. Yakuza Apocalypse, in which every Yakuza is a vampire or some shit like that. It's a Miike film. It's the most outwardly Miike film that he's put out in probably the last 10 years. It's very entertaining. It's by no means a classic, but it's got a bloke dressed as a frog who is the world's greatest terrorist, and he punches people, and it's fucking awesome. It's also got a bloke who looks like a duck. It's that bloke from The Raid as well. Yeah, entertaining. I remember really liking it. Again, another one I should watch again. It Follows, one of the most hyped horror films of whatever, 2012 or whenever it came out. It's still great. Love the soundtrack in this. Micah Monroe should have been in far more things than she has been. She's a brilliant genre star. I don't know where she's gone. Really clever concept, you know, sexually transmitted stalky slash thing. The freaky shot with the tall bloke. It is a modern classic and it is fantastic. Director's not done enough either, really. A proper film, Inherent Vice. I really like this. This was the first Paul Thomas Anderson film I saw, mainly because I really like the trailer, which makes it out to be this like outward comedy, and it isn't. Although it is funny in places. It's a great film to have on in the background because it looks pretty. It's got fantastic Johnny Greenwood soundtrack. Everyone in it looks fantastic. But I mean, I've never read the book, but apparently the book is very woozy and hazy and sort of like you're on drugs watching the film is like you're on drugs, so I assume the book is the same. But I like it a lot more than a lot of people give it credit for. Splatter University is possibly the worst film I've ever seen. I absolutely hated this film with a passion. It is so shit beyond belief. It is absolutely terrible with no redeeming qualities. I don't even remember it being that funny. It's so appallingly made. This is the sort of one that I think the only way you can enjoy watching it is to get your friends together and just talk over it. Perhaps I'll do that. Perhaps I'll live stream you watching this or something. It says fucking Slasher Classics on the back. It is in no way a classic. It's awful. It's a waste of plastic. The Hateful Eight, another proper film. I think this might be the only Tarantino film I've only seen once. Not because I didn't like it, I very much did. I think it's just that it's about 3 hours long. Although, annoyingly again, this doesn't have the extended version that they did on 70mm, I don't think. I mean, great performances. I mean, it's a Tarantino film, and even though I think it's probably one of his weakest, it's a Tarantino film, it's still very good. And, you know, he did this and then did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is one of my favourite films of the last few years. So, actually, that's probably way older than I think it is. Where has time gone? Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. Another video nasty, and a pretty shit one at that. I don't remember this being particularly great at all. I mean, it's got... This is... I think... This is one of the... This was marketed, this is a cool tidbit, by having a brain in cinema foyers and you had to guess the weight of the brain. That was the marketing gimmick. And I think the guy that distributed this got arrested because he put out the uncut version illegally. So that's a fun fact. And I think Tom Savini's name is on it, but he didn't want his name on it. He asked them to take it off. So... many cool things, and if you've ever seen this and you've seen Censor, you'll recognise a bunch of the clips at the start of Censor. Why did I spend so much time on such a shit film? Nailgun Massacre, this is absolutely hilarious. It's one of those films that has a twist that they have set up exactly what you think it's going to be, and then they just completely frick with you because it's the killer is definitely a woman, and then it isn't, but it definitely is. It has a really awful car chase that is about 10 miles per hour, which is possibly the worst car chase I've ever seen. And if it weren't for the fact this film opens with a sort of horrific gang rape, it would be you'd put this on at a party and it'd be a whale of a time. Big Trouble in Little China. I like this film more and more every time I see it. I mean, it's John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, and I just love that Kurt Russell plays a completely useless character in it. I think it's really clever, and I don't think it gets the credit for being as sort of postmodern as it is. I've seen a lot of people dismiss it as just being sort of, you know, just ripping off Asian culture, but I mean, that's kind of the... It's a parody of that, and a parody of white saviours, and it's great. More Carpenter with Assault on Precinct 13. Another film I love. I mean, I love all John Carpenter films. I love the scene in this where they just shoot at windows for ages. I mean, it's a stripped back action film that by today's action standards isn't great, but it's so entertaining. I would also highly recommend the commentary track on any John Carpenter film, but Assault on Precinct 13 is great because he just goes, "That's shit, I wish I hadn't done that, but if you're making a film, don't do that." It's great, it's like a film school. It's more use than film school. Trailer Trauma, I have a frick ton of these. They're, you know, old exploitation movie trailers. I remember them being pretty good on this one, although I feel like this is the one where I've got the most duplicates. But I love these. They're just great to just stick on in the background while you're doing other things, or they're basically a shopping list of shitty horror films that you go, not seen that one, not seen that one, ooh, that one looks especially good, and I've not seen that one. So yeah, I mean, the only problem is you pay like 10 quid for this and then end up spending so much money on other shitty horror films. I think there's like at least 5 of these. I don't know where the others are. This is me being disorganised. Deep Red, Argento's first proper classic film in my book anyway. It's the first one he worked with Goblin, Dario Nicolodi's in it. It's got all the hallmarks. It's the first flickers of supernatural stuff in his work. It's got great death sequences. This version's got about 3 different edits. You want to watch the longest one because you want the bit where, I can't remember his name, the bloke walks around the house for ages while some jazzy Goblin score goes on. I think this version came with the soundtrack as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot. I mean, Sam Elliott's come out as being a bit of a prick at the moment, but this is a really interesting film that takes a stupid title, a stupid concept, and plays it really quite dead straight. And I admired it for that. It's a lot better than it has any right to be. I think the only thing is, the actual Bigfoot bit is probably the worst bit of the film because it's the stupidest part, and the rest of the film is played bizarrely straight, and I would admire it a lot for that. The Green Inferno, which is basically Eli Roth going, I'm going to make Cannibal Holocaust. I remember liking this more than I felt I probably would. You know, it's got some decent gore in it. Eli Roth's not someone who ever does anything with a particular amount of taste or anything, so, you know, politically it's not amazing. But it does have a bit where the cannibals eat the stoner guy and he's just smoked a fat doob, and then all the cannibals get, like... Oh no, it isn't that. It's that they eat all the stoner dude's got like a load of weed and they all smoke it and then they get the munchies, I think. Or they eat the guy, I can't remember. There's a munchies joke in it. That's the main thing I remember about the entire film. Jordan Peele's Us. Now, I am the first person to hold my hands up. I didn't get the hype around Get Out. It didn't do anything for me. Us did a lot more. I mean, the ending's not amazing. But it's Lupita Nyong'o really makes this film. She's brilliant in it. There's some really clever jokes without it ever ruining the fact that this is quite creepy. You know, I'm really excited for Nope because I feel like this was a step up from Get Out, so I'm hoping Nope is going to be another step up. Howl. What if Snakes on a Plane was Werewolves on a Train? Must have been the pitch that someone went into a studio with. And they went, yeah, I remember this being okay. It's another one where I sort of fleetingly remember it. I wish we had more werewolf films. We don't seem to get enough. I mean, you know, after Dog Soldiers, we should have got a shit ton more werewolf films. So I'll take any that we get, and this is fairly good. I remember the werewolves looking pretty good. I'm sure there's some good gore in it. It's an 18, so at least, you know, I remember it being good. Cooties with Elijah Wood, Rainn Wilson and a bunch of other comedians. It's basically kids eat infected chicken nuggets and become zombies, or something like that. I remember this being alright. I remember it being entertaining. For some reason I own the soundtrack, and the only reason I know that is because it's on chicken nugget coloured vinyl. Yeah, I don't remember a massive amount about it. But apparently it's fun, funny and gory, so I'll take their word for it. And last but not least, Anthropophagus, the beast, Anthropophagus, I don't fucking know. It's another nasty. It's one with the cannibal dude who eats the fetus. That's the big bit in this one. It's obviously just like a skinned rabbit or something. Quite dull. This is a really hard watch. It has a very annoying theme tune. You know, it's not in any way a classic. It's the sort of one that you just want to see the gory bits, and you have to wait a long, long, long time for anything to happen, and then it's a bit disappointing when you do. But, I mean, you know, the last half an hour is probably worth watching. Again, have a few beers, have some friends over, talk through the talky bits, and just, yeah. I didn't set a timer, so God knows how long this waffled for. And there we go. That was loud. We did the box. Does this make up for the fact that I've been very quiet? I'm going to endeavour to do more videos, I promise. Let me know what you think of all the different films that I've covered. I'm going to now put all these away because they have made a mess all over my bed. So like I said, let me know down in the comments what you think of these films. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos, and I shall see you next time.